Good evening. This is a public health and safety meeting to discuss a couple topics. Let me get my agenda. This is April 12th, 2023. I call the meeting to order. We'll hold off on approving the minutes because I think we'll get more people jumping on. But we're going to start and discuss the special appropriation of approximately $35,000 for dynamic speed signs. Brent Hayes is with us, one of the Darien Police Commissioners. And if you just give us a quick overview, we are not approving it. It's already been approved. We'll just talk about it a little bit, and maybe you can embellish and talk about some other things.
Sure, absolutely. And I want to stick 100% to the agenda. I'll just take 20 seconds if you don't mind, Mac. Always look forward to working with you and your committee. I will let you know some very good news we're bringing to the RTM and then maybe the next meeting. The meeting after the next one, because the agenda is already set. The Darien Foundation just awarded us a grant of about $123,540 to upgrade the technology and communications for the boat, for the Marine Division. So we're thrilled about that. They've been very generous to the town in general, but also the Darien Police Department for many years. So very thankful for that. We'll be bringing that to your committee and the RTM in general to accept that grant. Secondly, look forward to working with you on the Slow Down in Town campaign. I think I owe you a phone call. I think we have to get started on that maybe sooner than later. So
I saw a few yard signs in my basement.
There you go. So a lot of work behind that. And I think last year we did a nice job getting the RTM involved, but hopefully we're going to get more people involved in the RTM and all the district chairs, which would be great. So going back to the agenda, sorry for a bit of a tangent, but a brief update on my end. So we are requesting, and it did get approved by, as you know, Board of Finance as well as the Board of Selectmen, 4 dynamic speed signs. For those that are not aware, the dynamic speed signs, if you go in front of the YMCA, they start flashing. There's the speed limit underneath. If you go above that speed limit, it starts flashing. It's in front of the Darien Library, and frankly, it's in front of all the elementary schools, including Henley, but on the Post Road, except for one school, which is on Mansfield Avenue, and that's Oxbridge. So we are requesting, number one, let me start with Upper Hoyt Street, 1 pair by Upper Hoyt Street. The Legal Traffic Authority has received complaints from residents there routinely throughout the years. When I say throughout the years, much longer than I've been a member of the Legal Traffic Authority. So we're going back probably 5-10 years plus. Those are largely neighbors, as we all know, on Upper Hoyt Street. Our Hoyt Street, generally speaking, there are no sidewalks. Unfortunately, people do walk along the road there. They have to. Some of them are workers, some of them are commuters. We consistently put patrol up there, issue infractions up there for people that are speeding. But really, the next step we feel what would be very effective is to get 1 pair of dynamic speed signs, call it between the club and the Merritt Parkway. And similar to that, if you take a look at Mansfield Avenue, we'd like to put them up outside of the elementary school on Route 124 there. The one thing that they both have in common are, number one, no sidewalks, as I just mentioned. But importantly, number 2, people exit the Merritt Parkway. And when you're on the Merritt Parkway, you tend to probably not doing 55, some are, but even 55 is over the speed limit on both of those state roads. On Upper Hoyt, Hoyt Street in general, as well as Mansfield. And as we all know, people are going probably well above 55 miles per hour. So we want to, number one, protect our students, and we want to get these signs installed ASAP. It's been a work in progress. Unfortunately, we weren't able to use the ARPA funds. The town was reserving that for expenditures of $40,000 and above. We had a bit of a challenge just getting a quote from TAPCO, which are the makers of these dynamic speed signs. So that's why we asked the Board of Finance, hey, listen, we can get this approved ASAP. They use it, I believe, their contingency fund, and approved it just to meet the needs of the residents as soon as we possibly can, and obviously for the safety of the school children. Hopefully you did receive the write-up that Chief Anderson sent. Hopefully that was very detailed, but that's just an overall, brief overview and summary of what we're looking to do. Is that helpful?
I have a question. Brent, of late, I'm here in New Mexico, and they said that some of these speed things can record license plates and issue tickets. I'm assuming we're not doing anything like that, right?
Yeah, there's different technology for that. And actually, it's interesting you bring that up, Lois. The police commission is considering actually something called LPRs, license plate readers, but for the dynamic speed signs. That's not something that we're doing. That's not the purpose of the dynamic speed signs.
And even when they're doing the readers, the purpose isn't for tickets, right? I didn't.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, now I understand. I'm not, this just came out in recent news. I'm probably as up to date as the rest of you are if you read the news. I believe the state of Connecticut is actually putting up speed cameras in construction zones in certain areas of I-95. I believe that's been approved. I know historically the legislation thought it was sort of I really don't know, but maybe an invasion of privacy. You really shouldn't do that. Didn't approve that in the past. But they are doing it. I don't know if it's experimental, but they're doing it on 95 in certain areas over the next, I think it's going to be implemented over the next month or so. Jim's shaking his head. He probably knows better than I do.
It's my column for next week in Talking Transportation. Yeah, they started on Monday, and one of the locations on I-95 is going to be in Norwalk, and they will have a combination of automatic license plate readers and radar. So if you're going over the speed limit by 15 miles an hour, you will automatically get a ticket, or whoever owns the car has the license plate will automatically get a ticket in the mail. I wanted to follow up with another question because I'm familiar with the dynamic speed signs on the Post Road now by the library and by the Y. Is there any data that shows that they have been effective in lowering speeding incidents in those areas?
So I don't have any data specific to Darien. I mean, I can tell you just in practice, so I'm going to answer this question two different ways, but in practice, you can see they're very effective. People are constantly hitting their brakes, so I can see that firsthand. That doesn't give you the fact-based data maybe that you're requesting. But what I can tell you is if you go to various states, I didn't look up, I believe Connecticut, I looked up some other ones today, Department of Transportation, and they actually have done studies with dynamic speed signs, and they have proven to be very effective in calming speed in certain areas.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Any timeline on the license plate readers?
It's an ongoing conversation. We've been meeting with Flock Technology about that. Flock Technology they just implemented that up in New Canaan. New Canaan, I believe, right now has I'm not sure what they want to make public, so let me be careful there. But they are using this technology. I will tell you that Stanford has been using this technology for a very long time. They have many cameras in Stanford, and I will tell you from an investigation standpoint, think about like a hit and run as one example. These license plate readers have been very effective. Vandalism, things like that. The license plate readers that we're looking at right now are stationary, but we also have an opportunity maybe to lease one that is more mobile. So if we have a certain area of crime here in town, it could be one of our parks. So this public information, we've got some vandalism at Cherry Lawn Park. That would be an area where we could potentially use it, in other areas. And I do think at some point, if they are effective for the town, I would like to get the Board of Ed involved. Maybe the Board of Ed would want to consider doing this at some of the schools, whether it be the high school, elementary schools, whatever it may be. So if it's successful here, I can tell you that's been implemented for about a month in New Canaan, and it's been very helpful to them already. I'll just leave that as that. I do know that Stanford, it's also been very effective. Norwalk is actually looking at the technology as well.
Brent, has the commission had any discussions? I saw the presentation by the sales guy and some of the Q&A, but has the commission discussed further the privacy implications about how long data will be stored on what license plates we're seeing?
Yeah, what we want to do is look at best practice. And right now we think best practice, what we've been told by Flock Technology. So Jim, number one, you want to create a policy, right? A policy that is available to the public that they can see. Number two, the data would not be accessed by any, including police officers, which I would think are the most trusted people in town. It would only be accessed for an investigation, and it would not be available to everyone. It would be available, let's say, to our detective bureau, similar to that of New Canaan. What we did talk about is, is there any, it's not taking a picture of any driver. Right. So there's no bias there. What it does is it takes a picture simply of the back of the car and the license plate. There are other means. If there are stickers on your car, I have a sticker where my child goes to school, for example. and I can type in, Mac, you mentioned before the Jeep, right? We have the top down, but a black Jeep, blah, blah, blah sticker, and it can identify that vehicle. So if it was, once again, evolved in a hit and run, it's not just a license plate. You can get the description and it would give you the license plate to track that person down. So it could be very effective for us. There's a lot of crimes, as you know, stolen vehicles and other things here in town. And, if your car does get stolen, it gets reported. We would know exactly where it came into town, left town, what time it left town. There's also communication with other departments, such as New Canaan. If Norwalk goes to Flock Technology, we can communicate with them and access their cameras to see if the car went over the border, as one example. So it could be very, very effective in a lot more towns in Connecticut, not just, lower Fairfield County, or we're looking at the technology.
Thanks.
That's all good, Brent. Brent, could you talk a little bit about the hiring of an IT person for the police department and what the benefits of that and whatnot?
Yeah, right now we kind of call it a shared resource with the Board of Ed, and really we need a dedicated technology officer at this point in time. We do have an officer that's very well versed in technology at the Darien Police Department, and that individual has been doing a lot of the work there. And really what we need is a full-time employee to do that. So we did get approval in last year's budget. It is posted. Other police departments have a dedicated technology officer. This is going to be a civilian hire. So a little more cost effective, and we're just looking for the right person at this point.
Will that officer replace the town IT staff that works with the police department now?
I think the technology individual that we hire, it's going to be a shared resource. I believe, even fire, Sean, I think, can participate in that, EMS as well. So it's not just dedicated to the Darien Police Department. It would be a shared resource.
But George from the IT department, who works with the police department now, would he be freed up to do other work around town?
I think his time would be freed up. I don't have a percentage on how much time, but yes, his time should be freed up as a result of that. Yes.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, but sorry, I'm keeping my mic off in case there's other out noise. But anyway, which you wouldn't want to hear.
Coyotes cheering in the background.
But you're still coordinating with. You're still under the auspices of the IT department, right? I mean, they're going to set the standards for what's going on, correct?
Absolutely. There will be a partnership there. This is a matter of just getting more of a, more dedicated resource, including weekends, for example, things like that.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, town weekends start on Friday.
That's right.
That's another
Stuff happens
conversation
on the weekend, right? Yeah. Okay.
Well, Brent, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Okay, Mac, I'll be in touch with the slowdown in town, and hopefully this is the Darien Foundation grant in the coming weeks.
Okay, great. Thanks,
Thanks, guys. Have a good meeting. Take care.
Thanks, Brent.
Aye.
So, Sean, do you want to just do a quick little personal introduction and then talk about the wall project?
Yeah, sure. My name is Sean Volan, president of Norton Heights Fire Department. Been in here about going on almost 23 years. I've passed chief and all that. So basically, over the past couple of years, I got my document up next to me. Probably the last 3 or 4 years, we've put in the 6-year capital for the south side retaining wall to be fixed. We started with I want to say a general number because we got it from one of our contractors that we know very well to help us out. But come to find out, just to help everything out, we needed to go for an engineer. So basically, we with some of the department funds, we went out and got an engineer to come in. I don't know if you guys got the documents or anything from finance. Okay, so you guys did. So you saw all that documentation, basically saying that the wall is about ready to collapse and what the next steps are. So basically, we talked to this engineer. This engineer we're going to put on retainer, and she's going to do phase 1, which is the investigation phase, and just figure it out exactly what we want to do and how to go about fixing it. And then phase 2 is going to be the actual construction of it. And at that point, we'll be going back to the town to request more funds for it. So just the 40,000 is just to get the investigation portion done and figure out what we need to do and basically get bid spec ready to go out to bid.
John, is the parking lot being used now, or is that blocked off up above?
As of right now, it's still being used. We are telling people to use it with caution, due diligence. Within the next week or so, I'm actually going to be meeting with our board to figure out our next steps, because we do have a couple people looking into getting it shored up for us so we can continue to use it, and talking with the town and all that. So we're working to get it shored up, and then we're just treading lightly over there, let's say.
Just from the picture, it looks like there's been, different attempts of repairs over the years. Some is poured concrete, some of it are railroad ties.
I know, I don't know the whole background, but the poured concrete and I'm going to call it the stacked rock, was done back in the 50s or 60s. And then I would like to say late 80s, early 90s, the railroad ties got installed down at the bottom to do another stopgap. And that's basically the last of the repairs that I'm aware of.
Yeah, Jim.
Sean, do you have any, I know you're waiting to hear from an engineer with a real working calculator, but do you have any idea of how large this total repair might be?
Unfortunately, no, I don't. But from talking to the engineer that we're dealing with, she did a similar project in New York. And the numbers she told us was up over $1 million, which I am very, very shocked about. So I'm curious on what we're looking at. I talked to Ed Gentile about it. He gave me a couple options to talk to the engineer to see if we could lower the cost. So there's some definite money that we're going to be looking for, but I'm not 100% sure what it is, and I'm hoping to get it towards. I'm hoping for $500,000, but at this point, I don't know what it's going to cost. So you can't hold any numbers to me right now.
No, I hear you. Thanks.
Yeah, Lois, you had a question.
Yeah, what is the expected timing on this?
Right now, the expected timing is we're actually hopefully meeting with the engineer. Today's Wednesday, towards the end of this week or beginning next, to sign contract to get payment done. And then I believe her documentation is 6 to 8 weeks of investigation with core boring samples and soil samples and stuff like that. So we're hoping by round numbers, I'm going to say by the beginning of July, we're going to have some kind of better estimate and what we're looking at doing.
I think I guess the worst case scenario is if it's unchecked, that possibly the road could start eroding. Could
Correct.
go out that far.
Correct. And that's one thing, because you're a little less than 20 feet, if I'm not mistaken, for size car length. There's about 20 feet to the road edge. And Ed knows about it. So I've been in contact with him and working with him on it too. So he knows what's going on. So, and he's also happy that we sort of took the project on, because he's got a whole bunch of other projects going on. So
how long has it been like this? I mean, is this something that all of us, I know it's been going on a long time, because when we had our tour a while ago, we talked about it.
Yep.
So is there any reason to think that it's all of a sudden more urgent?
There's a lot more. If you take a look at the upper parking spots, there's a lot more concaving on the asphalt. So it's starting to really settle. We don't know what's behind everything or below everything. So.
Yeah, I'm not trying to question the need. I'm more interested in the timing, that should you have a proposal and when might it hit, so make sure that we're all on the same page with you. That's really what my focus is.
I'm hoping within the next 3 months, I'm going to say max 4 months, but I just don't know timing with getting the engineer set up, or getting us to sign the engineering paperwork and everything. So I'm hoping this quicker the better, but I know how things take time and all that.
Thank you.
Because there's issues on the other side, on the side of the building, right, with some cracking.
There are some other issues internally with that wall, but I don't think that's causing the erosion on the south side, but there are issues internally with that wall. So hopefully everything will get addressed at that point too. So we'll know more in the coming week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jim.
Sean, can I ask a question about something unrelated to this? I'm sure you've been following some of the discussions by various boards about possibly starting a fire commission to coordinate all the local volunteer fire departments. Not putting you on the spot, but as chief fire president, I forgot your title, of Norotan Heights. Do you have any reaction to that? Have you talked with your counterparts in the other departments?
We've all been talking. It's good and bad. I don't know exactly how it's all going to work out. I think it's going to run a little bit like the police commission, but a lot of organizations don't know what the fire commission does behind the scenes too, because there's a whole list. I'm going to call it a laundry list of things that get done that people don't know about, and it's where the commission comes in and steps in and takes care of it, and then it's just done. I don't know how it's going to work I don't know how it works with the police commission on certain things like that. So there's a lot of, I'm going to say, internal things with the three departments that get done through the commission, and it's out of the department's hands. It just makes the department's lives a lot easier.
So just to clarify, there already is a fire commission. Is that what you're saying? There is
yes, there's already a fire commission between the three firehouses. There's three members of each department on it. That's usually usually the chief and two appointed. Same thing with Norotan. Darien, I think, is the same way. I'm not 100% sure with them, but there is already a commission between the three, but it's not part. The one of the issues, it's not part of the town charter. It's like off the town charter per se.
Do you hold public meetings?
The meetings are public. I just don't know when they're posted or where they're posted.
Neither do I. TV 79 would love to come and see the work of the fire commission. So let me know. We'll be down there next time you want to meet. Because that should be on the town website. I mean, the very fact that I was ignorant of its existence, I thought it was something being discussed as an idea.
No.
So bad on me. I apologize. I thought I knew it was on in town too.
No, I thought it was well known throughout the town, but apparently it's not. So I don't want to get too much involved with it, because I'm not part of the commission anymore. So I don't want to divert from what we've been.
Well, I think the kind of issue, Jim, is, and all of you, is that it's a commission right now that's made up of fire people. So there's nobody who's a layman on the commission outside of it, and I think that's for good or for bad. I think there's thought that there should be some outside people on it.
Yeah, and nobody from the town on it is as well either. Nobody from finance, nobody from the board of selectmen. The board usually liaises with most of the commissions, or has ad hoc representation to know what's going on. So, and I know John, I will follow up with you, and we'll find out when the next public meeting is going to be, so we can let the whole town know what it is you do.
Yeah.
Sean, change your email address. No.
Unfortunately, I can't. I have a few, and I'm also a town employee, so Jim can get a hold of me.
I'll find you.
Oh. Well, Sean, thank you. If there's nothing else, there's really nothing else on the agenda either. I think we could wrap things up. Got a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I think it's unanimous.